Thanks, Chrissy. Thanks to Stuart and the RIU team. It's great to be presenting here today. Thank you for everyone dialed in online and in the room at the moment. I must admit it is a little bit odd to be presenting not in front of a computer screen in my Ugg boots. So this is a bit of a novel experience for me, having only been in the role for 12 months. So Hammer Metals, as that introductory slide said, looking for a new era of exploration in Bronzewing. We've got a great exploration project in Bronzewing that I'll talk a little bit about in a moment. But I think the key to Hammer and what we're doing is we're exploring for gold and copper, and I think there's no better commodity mix for a company at the moment. We've got two projects in two of the world's great mineral provinces in Mount Isa and also here in Western Australia in the Yandal Gold Belt. I think our property here in the Yandal's been very lightly explored in places, and the places where it has been explored, I think it's been inefficiently explored, and I'll talk a little bit more about that, and I think there's a tremendous opportunity to be exploring in our own backyard in a fairly safe environment. Hammer, we've got a number of refined, advanced, drill-ready targets. We've just drilled 3 of them in Queensland. We released results on 2 of them this week, late last week. We're about to commence drilling 3 targets in the Bronzewing region. So we've got lots of news flow. We're an active company. We've got a team that have been involved with world-class discoveries before and also in working within good mining operations. And we're exploring next to the headframe of some of the world's best deposits, both in Western Australia and Queensland. And we've got funding ready to go for these programs. In terms of the team, I joined the company looking for a strong technical team. I'm not a technician, with Russell Davis and Ziggy Libanecki on board, providing technical guidance and having been responsible for the Gruyere gold discovery. I think there's no better team than people that have been there and done that before and taken a company from a junior explorer through the development life cycle. And not only do they provide their technical guidance and support, they're firm believers and backers of the project. So this year alone, Ziggy and Russell have contributed $750,000 in new equity into the company. You can see our capital structure there. We're in this phase at the moment where we have some options outstanding until the 30th of this month. They're currently in the money. There's 120 million of them there at 3 cents. We're trading at 4, creating a bit of an overhang in the stock at the moment. Our top 20 account for about 50% of our register. Our directors own 16% of the company, and as I said, they're firm believers in what we're doing. In terms of where we are, we're in the Yandal Belt. We're right next door to the Bronzewing gold mine. You can see the Bronzewing pit there. Our tenement starts less than 100 metres away from the Bronzewing mine. We all know the Bronzewing mine was Echo Resources last year, taken out by Northern Star. There's infrastructure in place there. It does require refurbishment, but Northern Star are heavily committed to the region. Our 3 project areas you can see up there, the Bronzewing South tenement. The area that we've had most success in our 12 months of ownership has been this North Orelia project here, and I'll talk a lot more about that in a second. And a third area we're going to be testing is at Kensborough. Over the 12 months, we've managed to build our position in the Yandal, adding tenure to the north up here, and we see this as an area that's been ineffectively explored over a number of years. With a rising gold price, we think we're in the right area. In terms of that North Orelia project, if you have a look up here, you can see all the black dots. You can see all the exploration that was done here in the mid-1990s by Newmont. You'd look at that and say, look, this area has been well done from an exploration perspective, but a lot of that exploration was done to a nominal depth, 21 metre vertical holes back in the mid to late 1990s. 21 metres isn't all that deep. Hammers come in, and we've drilled angled holes. We've averaged about 50 metres of depth, and we've had a bit of success. Every time we've come back here, we've now done 3 air core programs here. Every time we've come back, we've managed to add mineralisation. We've now got a 2-kilometre stretch from north to south of good gold grades in air core. So if you have a look, 4 metres at 5.8 from 40 metres down hole, 4 metres at 4.4 from 48. So it's no coincidence Newmont drilling to 21 metres just didn't pick up these zones of gold mineralisation. When you have a look at what it looks like, one of the better cross sections that we've got through there and some more continuity within one of those lines that you've got. You have a look and those intercepts there, while they don't appear to hang together all that well, you've got to remember that we've been drilling into weathered bedrock. Gold depletion zones all the way through this area aren't uncommon, and when you have a look at the first sort of 50 metres of drilling we've done here, it isn't really that different to the original discoveries at Bronzewing and also at Orelia. And I remind people of the original discovery hole at the Bronzewing mine. It was actually 4 metres at 1.8 grams per tonne from 48 metres down hole. So I don't think what we've got here in sort of a top weathered bedrock material is all that different, and I think the real test is going to be when we're drilling with deeper RC drilling along this 2-kilometre trend, and that starts later this month. So we've got a team up there now readying drill pads, getting us ready to go. The Bronzewing South tenement's an infamous tenement for anyone that's followed exploration in Western Australia. It was tied up in a High Court battle. It was tied up in a legal challenge for over 10 years. And when the Bronzewing mine was in its prime producing gold, this area sat unexplored. Eventually in 2002, that High Court case was ruled, and Newmont came in, did a joint venture on the property and spent 11 months exploring it before they shut down the Bronzewing mine with a low gold price in 2003. You can see up here what looks like a pretty extensive program. They did do a lot of air core through here. You can see a number of areas where they defined some great air core anomalies through here, but they only managed to drill 10 deeper diamond or RC drill holes in 2003 before they walked away from the property. It sat dormant until it came into Hammer's portfolio last year in May. We came through and we drilled the white holes that you can see here. We drilled 14 RC holes averaging 200 metres of depth. We had a little bit of success down in the bottom, down in the south, down here. And we drilled what at the time we thought was a very large gravity feature. We drilled one hole to the west and one to the east. And we got our best result. We got 10 metres at 2 grams per tonne from 130 metres down hole. We sort of scratched our heads and we said, well, that's nice, but it's 130 metres down. What do we do next and where do we go? Fast forward to COVID, and what we did was we actually came in and we had a look at a detailed gravity survey. And where we thought we drilled the heart of a gravity feature, we did detailed gravity over the top, and what we found was we actually drilled in between the 2 gravity lows that sit here. So we've missed the actual target. We're going to come in and we're going to drill 2 600 metre deep diamond holes at these 2 targets, part funded by the WA EIS process. The other thing that I like to show on this particular slide is also this area, or this whole area, has had very little deeper diamond or RC drilling. So those 24 drill holes you can see are plotted up here, all focusing predominantly either on the boundary or on this eastern shear zone. Nothing in between the corridor between that shear and this dolerite unit out to the west. And when we have a look at where the Bronzewing gold mineralisation, it sits in between this shear zone and that dolerite unit. Also with a coincidental gravity low. We've got another gravity low in between in that corridor, and we've got the other one down here. So I think in terms of exploration that hasn't been done not well in the past, but limited exploration because of that legal battle, I think this is a fantastic target for us to be doing more work on. And it's actually our 3rd target in our upcoming program. So the other target, and sorry, there's just a long section of it. So again, we can see the Bronzewing gold mine here. We can see pretty much a 2 kilometre between the gravity lows here. See very little testing of any depth in between relative to what's been done at the Bronzewing gold mine. Having produced 4 million ounces, we think we're in the right neighbourhood. The Kensborough target's our 3rd target in the area that we're going to drill. This is another very interesting prospect on surface. Over many years, there's been some good high-grade rock chips taken out. Corresponds with the fault zone sitting here, and also an unexplained EM plate that's never been drilled. So this is a great target for us to come and put 2 RC holes into, about 500 metres of RC drilling, and hopefully it's another target that proves fruitful for us. So we're really active. As I said, that target 1 area up to the north of Orelia, it sits just north of the Orelia pits down here, 1.1 million ounces. Northern Star have a resource over. That whole trend continues up here. We've got that 2 kilometre trend of gold mineralisation. It's, I think, a great target for us to be testing with RC, and we're really excited to get after that at the end of this month. Kensborough down to the south, I spoke about the EM plate that sits down there. This is an interpreted mag feature that runs all the way down the length of the property. Quite interesting structurally, sits up against a large granite unit here. Untested EM plate, gold on surface, great target. And the Bronzewing South tenement, I think there's a lot to be done there. So from a gold exploration perspective, we're busy, we're active, and there's a lot going on. But wait, there's more. And this is why I joined Hammer. It really is my passion in copper and gold. We're exploring in Mount Isa for a large-scale IOCG system. It's not the flavour of the month for our investors at the moment, but we are as equally busy in Mount Isa as we are in Bronzewing, and that's predominantly thanks to our joint venture partner, JOGMEC, who are earning in on a small portion of the portfolio we have here. So you can see the darker blue areas outlined here. So JOGMEC is spending $6 million over 5 years to earn a 60% interest in these projects. And we've just drilled two potential targets there within the joint venture, and we released those results. Importantly, both JOGMEC and ourselves are pretty committed to the project. We've just agreed to expand what we're doing there. We're following up some of the work we've done, and I think there's some good potential there for these large-scale systems. Also within our portfolio are 5 JORC resources. One of them sits there, I think, undervalued, 20 million tonnes of 1.8% copper equivalent metal, 360,000 tonnes of copper in a rising copper price environment with near-field exploration potential, I think is forgotten about in our portfolio at times. One of those particular targets that we drilled with JOGMEC, it was an iron oxide copper gold project. We drilled 400 metres or 380 metres of diamond drilling at this target, really not enough for a system here that has prospectivity over 4.5 kilometres. We really focused in on this area. It sits just next door to a 30 million tonne hematite deposit. So quite important, I guess, when you're looking for an iron oxide copper gold prospect. On surface, everyone says you won't find anything in this area of Mount Isa. It's all been found and discovered before because it outcrops, and it does. But this area here, you can see high-grade rock chips of gold up to 6 grams per tonne, high-grade copper up to 28%. So you'd agree with me, if it's all been done and explored before, this target would have been drilled well before now. It hadn't. There wasn't a drill hole within 4.5 kilometres of this particular prospect outside of this iron oxide drilling, which was actually drilled from the other side of this ridge. So these are the types of opportunities that exist within our portfolio. It's part of an 8 kilometre diameter breccia unit. As I said, this whole trend along here, 4.5 kilometres, is highly prospective for an iron oxide copper gold system. And our partners and Hammer are keen to get after that and explore further. So I think that's a great target. Our second target that we drilled with a joint venture, it sits in a very similar structural setting to our Kalman deposit, sitting along a major fault structure, high-grade copper, gold and silver rock chips. We had 3 EM plates we were chasing here. We drilled a single diamond hole aimed at the strongest conductive plate. We drilled that hole. We saw high levels of alteration within the hole. The geology looks very similar to what we see at our Kalman deposit. And we didn't see anything that explains the EM conductor that we drilled there. So this is another target for us that requires a little bit more science, a little bit more work. We're doing a downhole EM project as we speak on that target and at Shadow. And we're quite keen to see what is on offer there. Spoke a little bit more about our Kalman project earlier, 20 million tonnes at 1.8% copper equivalent. If you have a look at this intersection, 7.7 metres at 23% copper and 0.5 gram per tonne of gold it is from 580 metres. An exceptional target, I think, and sort of you deliver that drill result into the current market, I think it would make a lot of people take notice. So one of the things we did earlier this year, we did a magnetotelluric study over Kalman. You can see the wireframe that sits here. You can see just behind this conductive unit. You can also see a number of nearby surface conductive units that remain untested and unexplored, representing great exploration targets moving forward. A deep conductive feature providing fluid pathway up to these surface features. I think, again, this is a great area to be exploring for copper and gold in the current environment. So Mount Isa, we're equally busy there. JOGMEC are funding all of our work at the moment. We're spending all of our funds in Western Australia at the moment, focused on the gold projects, but I think there's tremendous potential with what we've got in Mount Isa as well. And in terms of our news flow, I said we've still got results outstanding in Mount Isa as we speak. We've got a program that's starting at the end of the month, 2,500 metres of RC drilling and 1,000 metres of diamond drilling. I think there's lots of news flow to come, and we're an active, busy explorer in 2 of the great commodities, in 2 of the best mineral provinces you could want to be exploring in. So I'll leave that with you. Thank you.
That was